Hi guys, it's Baotran. I am super excited to show you my little air plant babies. And these guys were grown from seed. They're just sitting in this container, and I'll show you the process in which I grew these. And they're just super easy, not like the orchid seeds. So I have an air plant here that the seed pods have already kind of exploded outwards, so the seeds have already dispersed. But usually the seed pods are kind of like really big grains of rice, and they're elongated, and these guys close up like so. And what happens is when they're ready, they just kind of forcefully open up, or what I would call explode. And they open up, and the seeds in there are kind of like dandelion seeds, so they have little hairs on top of their heads, similar to like an umbrella that get dispersed in the wind. And even if there's no wind, they just kind of get lifted by the air or just a slight breeze. Now fortunately for me, this air plant was actually sitting on top of this air plant, and some of the seeds did get dispersed outwards, and they probably already lost. However, this air plant's beneath the smaller one right here is hairy, and usually air plants are like that, but this is not spider web. This is actually air plant seed, and I'm having a hard time focusing on it. But you can see that it is kind of furry, and it's not really furry, it's just the hairs on it. I'm gonna pull one out. So there's the seed right there in my middle finger, and then these hairs, which are kind of runes, they're not in their original shape anymore, but they were kind of wrapped around this air plant because this air plant was really furry, and they got stuck to it. So I had another one, and that's where I grew this one. But what I did was I took the seeds and I put it into this clear container, and I just put a little bark on the bottom. And the reason why I did that was so that if I miss this, like the extra water just kind of stays at the bottom, it doesn't touch the seeds, and that way the seeds don't rot, or the plant doesn't rot. So the plant itself is just sitting on top of the bark. And because I'm an orchid grower, I use bark for a lot of things. So you can see that actually some of the plants are on the edges of, or on the edge of this container, and the reason was when I put these seeds in here, they were all just kind of flying everywhere, and they got pretty much stuck to everything. So you can see right there is another plant, just a whole bunch of them. So I put it into here with a little bark on at the bottom, and then I mist it with just water, and I would close it up with a clear lid. So this is just a deli container that I just reused. So I put a clear lid on it, put it near the sun in very bright light, bright indirect light, kind of like the Phalaenopsis orchid. So I grew this next to the phals, and within a month, voila! Isn't that awesome? So I took an advice from Wade, from Wade's Orchids, which was his advice applied to seedlings, but I think it also applies to these kinds of plants that you're growing in these closed containers as well, is weekly you can just open up the lid and air it out, so the stale air in there is let out, and you can either leave it, or you sometimes I don't have time, so I just kind of fan it with the lid, and then if it's slightly dry, I'll mist the plants again, but very gently and very lightly, not a lot of water, and then I close the lid back up and just leave it to do its thing. I did not realize that they grew so fast. So this is an awesome opportunity for you to just have like little baby plants. And I know that with these air plants, they make, ow, I just hit my head on something. With these air plants, they just make little pups. or little plants on the side. So the seeds that I'm growing actually came from this plant, which is the Tillandsia juncea, I believe. Yes. And this one actually already had 2 babies on it. I separated one of the babies to give to my sister, but you can just do it by division, just pull it out and it'll be okay. Or what I had the chance to do was just to grow some of them from seed. Now this one over here, unfortunately the seed pod has already exploded, so there's nothing I can do. There was nothing to collect because they were all gone. This one, however, this gigantic one that I recently got not too long ago, this is the Tillandsia elizabethii, or Elizabethiae. This one has a ton of flowers that are opening up. So in another 2 months or so, they're going to be seed pods. And this time what I'm going to do is, when I feel like they've been seed pods for a while, I'll probably take a Ziploc bag and kind of wrap this area around to catch all of the seeds, just in case they explode when I'm not there. And that way I can have a whole bunch of other little babies. So that's it in terms of growing these little dudes, little Tillandsia dudes. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you guys next time.